One reporter, Ray Moore, was one of those unsung heroes behind the camera throughout much of the struggle.
I've just watched a small corner of history unfold, a corner jammed with human emotion.
It turned out he would watch a large corner of history unfold. But in the early days of the Civil Rights Movement, Ray Moore says he and his colleagues did not realize they were covering the biggest story of their careers.
I don't think we had that much of a sense, quite frankly. I think we were doing a job and we were trying to save our skins. It was very harrowing to cover civil rights.
So harrowing, he often feared for his life. During one riot, a WSB colleague was hit in the head with a brick.
And he was in a coma for a while, but he somehow survived. But that's how dangerous it was.
Ray wasn't just a reporter. He was also the news director, and that gave him a great deal of influence over how the station covered the movement.
I came to Atlanta in 1951 to work for WSB. I got on a bus in front of the Biltmore Hotel, and I sat down, and then shortly a black couple came from in front of me and moved behind me. I had sat inadvertently behind them. And I was stunned by it because, you know, I was used to, you sit where you want to, but they were under the edict of blacks to the back. And that was an experience I didn't forget.
Keep fighting. Keep fighting.
The landmark desegregation case, Brown versus the Board of Education, was decided by the Supreme Court 3 years later, in 1954. But most of the South resisted even token integration for 5 more years, and even longer in some places.
Well, regardless of what they've decided, we will have segregated schools.
The South complied with the laws of the land with great difficulty, and many of the struggles occurred in my home state of Louisiana. When schools in New Orleans were finally forced to integrate ahead of Atlanta, Ray Moore was there.
Well, I sent myself because I wanted this community to face up to desegregation.
He was unprepared for what he found.
I went there to see how they desegregated, and it was nasty.
They got places for you.
There was hatred, rich and undiluted, in the faces and voices of the people I heard today. One woman's mouth twisted as she saw a little 6-year-old Negro child, a white bow in her hair, walk into William Frantz School this morning. The woman said, "Look at that black, slimy thing." There was bitterness, too, toward the New Orleans City Police when they pushed back a crowd of chanting teenagers. A housewife sneered, "They'll hold back our kids, but they won't hold back those black apes." One unforgettable sight. 2 blonde, curly-haired kindergarten moppets delivering baby-voiced boos at every passing Negro.
Some of the white women were saying, spit on her," as that little black child went by, and some of them did spit on her. And the names they called and all the gosh-awful nasty things that they did were really revolting.
In the midst of this inhumanity, Ray sat down in the homes of James and Daisy Gabriel, a white couple who had been branded race traitors.
A white mother and a father who let their little daughter Yolanda go to school, and that was a very brave thing. That was almost as brave a thing as happened in Arkansas when that little black child went to school there and was taunted. To see the courage of this white family who determined to send their child to public school no matter what. And the guy lost his job, which was a great sacrifice.
Many viewers, many white viewers, were appalled.
What sort of a reaction have you had from people?
Well, my faith in the American people has never wavered. And I have had the most wonderful, the most unique reaction to all the letters, because they have been all wonderful, good letters that if I had to walk through that map again, I would sincerely take all these letters in my hand and walk with them, because all these letters are just like so many candles lit. Letters from the South, from Louisiana, from Georgia, from all over. And all these people have told me that I am doing the right thing, and that they wish, many say, I wish I were there and to walk with you. And so you see, that's the American people as a whole.
The young news director hoped to help his own city avoid the ugliness he had witnessed in New Orleans, and went on the air with a brave, groundbreaking editorial.
And I said, the purpose of Friends is sometimes to tell you what you don't want to hear, even upsetting though it may be. And I said, we consider ourselves a friend of yours, and our advice to you is desegregate your schools.
Ray got a lot of death threats and had to change his home telephone number. But city leaders in Atlanta, like the legendary Mayor William Hartsfield, were progressive, and they too had seen news coverage of what happened in New Orleans and elsewhere.
We haven't got time to engage in hate campaigns. You know, it takes time, and to hate people doesn't make you feel good anyway. And we're just building a great city down there. We do not hate anybody. We're trying to get along with our Negro citizens, and we're trying to make progress in the field of their rights.
Hartsfield was great. When the Atlanta schools were desegregated, Hartsfield, of course, had already coined the "a city too busy to hate." Well, we weren't that busy. We hated a lot.
But as I stood in one crowd that was hooting Negroes in every passing car, I saw a strange scene. Two well-dressed Negro women drove by and smiled at those who were booing. One of the Negroes waved in a friendly gesture, and two of the white women laughed and waved back. It's a crazy, wonderful world. This is Ray Moore reporting